Man.
Now, the IEC says it rejects utterances by the former president, Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Zuma, claiming that the commission is biased. Its deputy chairperson, Janet Love, says such utterances by political parties or figures are attempts to inject an insurrectionist mood into the upcoming election. Love is pleading with political parties to work with the IEC to ensure free and fair elections.
Free and fair elections. After these elections, after these South African elections, there will be talks about whether the South African elections were free and fair. Some of the political parties in South Africa have already indicated that they are going to deny the election results. So these people, are going to be responsible for starting these conversations about whether the South African elections were free and fair. It's funny to hear Jacob Zuma saying that IEC is a biased commission. I guess the only question I have for Jacob Zuma is, when did you realize that IEC is a biased commission? You were the president of the country for 2 terms. 2 times IEC counted the votes that resulted in you becoming the president of the country. We never heard you saying anything about the IEC being a biased commission. You never said anything about that. Are you simply telling South Africans the truth right now? Or are you simply angry because IEC told you that, your criminal record is not allowing you to run as the president of the country again? Are you mad at that, or are you simply telling South Africans the truth? This whole thing reminds me of Ys Magashule. You remember that time Ys Magashule announced his political party is going to work with the political party of Jacob Zuma going into 2024 elections. One of the things that Ys Magashule said is that in 2024, there won't be any rigging of the elections. Black political parties are coming together to ensure that there won't be any rigging of the elections, because we know how the African National Congress operates. So Ys Magashule was questioned about this statement, and instead of answering this question, is the ANC rigging the elections, or did you guys at the African National Congress rig the elections? Instead of answering that, Ys Magashule came out and said that you hear today ANC is saying that the people who are not going to vote for the party are going to lose their social grants. He denied to answer the question, but I think there was no point in him answering the question, because he already said what he wanted to say. Guys, so don't you find it funny that the people who are no longer within the African National Congress are telling us how bad the ANC is? Don't you find it upsetting that the people are welcoming the same people that were within the African National Congress when they tell them how bad the ANC is? Ys Magashule is telling the people in this country today that black people are poor, black people have nothing. And this is the result of the African National Congress. The same Ys Magashule who fought tooth and nail to remain within the African National Congress is now going around telling people that the African National Congress is failing to maintain anything in the country. They are selling the state-owned resources, the infrastructure is down, the unemployment rate is up, black people in this country, they are poor. And that is the fault of the African National Congress. But this is the same person who fought to stay within the party. So that's why I'm asking Jacob Zuma that, when did you realize that the IEC is a biased commission? When you were still within the African National Congress, or now that you pretend to be out of the African National Congress?
In relation to the commission having been biased, I think what we would say to any political party, and that includes the unrepresented.
And at the same time, it is so hard to defend IEC. It is so hard to defend IEC because I'm not happy, about what IEC has done. I'm not happy about the fact that IEC allowed a situation where over 350 political parties actually registered. I believe that is going to cause confusion. I believe that is going to delay the election results, and it is going to give people who want to rig the elections a chance to rig the elections. Just imagine 350 political parties. How long is it going to take for IEC to count all the votes? So I'm not happy about what IEC is doing, but at the same time, I am not happy about what political parties are trying to do to blame IEC for their potential poor performance in the 2024 elections.
In relation to the commission having been biased, I think what we would say to any political party, and that includes the unrepresented political parties, is that as soon as a a political party is part of the process for an upcoming election, they are also part of the process of joining with the Commission to ensure that the elections are managed in a way that is free and fair. The Commission has received absolutely no evidence of bias and rejects this kind of
but it's politics. They don't have to bring you evidence, man. It's political speech. This is why political speech sometimes is dangerous, because you don't even have to provide evidence. You just have to make the allegations and keep moving. You just have to make the allegations and keep moving. You don't have to present any evidence. You just have to tell your people that, guys, IEC is working with African National Congress. These people, man, are going to help the ANC rig the elections. And because people are mad at the African National Congress, they are angry at the ANC because of the terrible job they have done in the country, it is not going to be hard for people to believe you. When you say IEC is working with the ANC, these people are going to rig the elections. They are going to rig the elections. So I find it funny. I find it very funny that even the African National Congress right now, it is trying to enter that ring of potentially pointing a finger at IEC, because recently President Ramaphosa came out and said that South Africa taking IEC to ICJ court, it might result in Israel tampering with our election results. It might result in Israel tampering with our election results. So you have a couple of political parties, man, that are willing to point a finger at IEC. I don't know if people are honestly taking this matter seriously. I don't know if people are honestly taking this matter seriously. This is the reason why I'm kind of obsessed when it comes to the election interference, when it comes to this talk that is directed at IEC, when it comes to what actually might happen in South African elections or after the elections. This is why I'm a bit obsessed with it, because I can see, or I can predict, that there is going to be some sort of chaos into the country. There's going to be some sort of chaos, man. You cannot tell me that after these elections everything is going to be smooth. You can't tell me that, man. You can't.
Talk that attempts to really inject into our country almost an insurrectionist mood.
Of course, they want to inject an insurrection mood. That's what they want. That's what I've been talking about, that these people, they want chaos. They want chaos. If they are not going to beat the ANC at the polls, they are going to beat the ANC at the streets. If they are not going to beat the ANC at the polls, they are going to beat them on the streets. I mean, guys, all of us, we know how active Jacob Zuma supporters are. We know, or we saw in 2021 with the July unrest, we saw people, man, ransacking the infrastructure, people burning down the malls, because these people believe Jacob Zuma is above the law. So if Jacob Zuma comes out and say these people stole an election against MK, these people will never allow me to run as the president of MK because of the bogus corruption allegations against me, his supporters are going to stand up. His supporters are going to stand up, and him having someone like Isma Khashule on his side, it's not making things good for South Africa. It's actually making things worse, because Isma Khashule, just like Jacob Zuma, these people, they have a lot of support. They have a lot of support, man. And with the EFF on the side saying that IEC, the organizations that are working with the IEC, they're being paid by the government and we cannot trust these guys. Man, the chaos that is about to hit South Africa after the elections, man, I don't think South Africans can actually comprehend it. I don't think they can comprehend it. Guys, we need to be very careful. What is about to happen after the elections, man? What is about to happen after the elections?
It is unacceptable, it's undemocratic, and we invite every political contestant, whether it be a person who is coming from a political party or a person who is an independent candidate, to recognize that part of being a candidate is to join, accept responsibility for making these elections a success, and that it is entirely irresponsible as a citizen to try and undermine a process rather than to enable it.
To me, it sounds like these South African elections, man, by the time they are done, man, we're going to hear the same stories that we had in Zimbabwe. We're going to hear the same stories that we had in some of these African countries, where people say that, man, a certain political party has rigged the elections. The commission that is running the elections was not doing a good job. This is the same rhetoric that came out of Zimbabwe recently. This is the same rhetoric that came out of Zimbabwe recently. So guys, I'm making these videos. I know it kind of look like I'm a bit obsessed about this thing, but I'm genuinely worried about the future of this country. I'm genuinely worried about these elections and people saying that these elections are going to be rigged. I'm genuinely worried about IEC enabling a situation where over 350 political parties are going to register. I am worried about political parties saying that IEC, it is not going to do a good job with these elections. So guys, I don't know if I'm just being, or if I'm just over exaggerating. I don't know. Please tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye bye.